It's episode 2.
It's a great episode.
Wow, thank you so much.
Really good.
Thank you so much. Last episode, I created these biohazard hardtops. You want to see how these were made? Well, check out episode 1, why don't ya? This episode, I'll be creating a multi-layered wood piece to accompany these sneakers using the biohazard respirator design. I'll be taking these plywood panels and cutting them up and sawing, and it's going to get real dusty in here.
Me?
No,
Oh.
it's sawdust. Yeah. Let's check out the equipment and supplies. You're gonna need a scroll saw, a jigsaw, a Dremel. You're gonna need cut patterns, a magnifying lamp, some safety equipment, glues, sanding sticks, paint, and of course the wood. And we're back in Procreate for the design. We've taken our original artwork off the front of the shoe, the respirator mask, and we've divided it into 13 cut layers, starting from layer 1 and building up towards the viewer at layer 13. Printed out the design to the size I want it. It's 28.5 by 29 centimeters. Nice and big. Then I traced it onto trace paper so that I have the individual cut patterns. These cut patterns are then going to be applied to the wood. Then I can cut it out with a jigsaw roughly, go to the scroll saw and cut it out more detailed, then take it to the sander and get it even more detailed. I'll be using a varying degree of cutting tools. One of them I'll be using is the jigsaw. Just a regular jigsaw. I got a nice fancy blade on there to give me nice finishing cuts, so not a lot of tear out. The jigsaw got multi-speed pendulum action. You put that way down if you're cutting some nice delicate stuff. And we're going to be using a rotary tool like the Dremel. The Dremel is going to have different bits on the end that are going to be used for different functions during the art design. A cutting bit that we can go through the artwork and then drill out any holes, remove any material by using that function there. And we're also going to put a sanding tip on here for some hard to reach sanding areas. We're going to be using the scroll saw the most in this project as it has a very detailed blade that's quite agile and can go around corners and cruise around gaps and those kinds of things when we're creating this artwork, because it's going to be quite a detailed cutting. The scroll saw is perfect for that. Uses an up and down motion with the blade that you can slow down for more detailed movements throughout your cut. We'll be doing a lot of sanding in this project as well. The belt sander and the disc sander will help us get closer to the line so we can get very detailed line work as we move around the different shapes of the cut patterns. Using the sander, we can remove material quite meticulously and get really close to the line so we have accurate shapes. We can clean up edges with it, and we can refine the design with the sander better than we could with something like the jigsaw or the scroll saw. We'll also be using sanding lollipop sticks. What you do is you get a regular lollipop stick, you get a piece of sanding paper like that, cut it to size, spray adhesive onto the lollipop stick. I use 2 different grits on each side so I know that I got a more coarse and a more fine sanding stick, and boom, you got a really detailed sander. Use it for anything, just don't suck on it. Learn from experience. Using a scalpel, you will cut out all the cut patterns from the trace paper. The wood I'm using is a red oak premium ply. The reason for that is it's voidless, so you can cut the art and it'll be nice and premium and nice and fancy. Glue down your patterns on the wood using some spray adhesive. Using the jigsaw, be as accurate as you can, but obviously you're going to take the scroll saw to be even more accurate. All your cut patterns spread out. And here we go with the scroll saw. Nice and accurate around the edges. Using the Dremel and a cutout bit, you can do the internal spaces. I made little holes so I could thread the scroll saw blade through and make better cuts. Drilling little holes into the front of the respirator mask, cutting out the internal patterns on some of the designs. That's all the cut patterns labeled and piled on top of each other in a dry assembly. We've got one more piece to cut, and that's the little biohazard symbol on the forehead. With these small miniature cutouts, be careful with your fingers, you're going to get real close to the blade. Using sanding to refine the edges and get closer to the line. We're going to glue it on, putting some regular wood glue. And clamping. and clamping and clamping and clamping. Using a router bit in the Dremel, I'm just refining some more of the edges in the goggles. Using the sanding belt to get more material removed. And then the little lollipop sanding sticks. Got to glue on the bottom half to the main mask. I'm using a special Super T CA glue here. Clamping, clamping, clamping. Using the accelerator for the CA glue, which is a very good combination, you just spray the glue and it instantly activates. Now we're going to glue on the tiny little Biohazard logo in the middle of the forehead using those tiny minuscule pieces. Now we're spraying on the white base coat to make our yellows brighter. And now we're spraying on the yellow. Masking up some of the areas as usual to cut out some of the shapes. In hindsight, I should have done this painting before I assembled the piece, but that's what hindsight is for, to look back and realize what an idiot you were and are. Using the paintbrush to paint the Biohazard symbol, because I'm not a surgeon with an airbrush. What do you expect? Of course I'm gonna use a paintbrush. Some unmasking ASMR. So nice. So good. Spraying some more areas and some more masking and spraying and masking and masking and spraying and also spraying and also some masking and then drying it. Pulling off the masking tape to reveal the final red areas, which were quite difficult to paint, to make sure you get into all the tiny little angles and little spots that I should have done before I did the yellow, before I assembled. And there we go, it's finished. Or is it? I decided needed a round red backing board for the whole mask. I think it finishes it off real nice. What do you think? I can't hear you. Using some CA glue and accelerator to clamp that baby on, and done! And here we have it, the final artwork. It's the Biohazard respirator mask coupled with the Biohazard high tops that I did in episode 1. They look so sick together. Super stoked with how it turned out. Learned a couple things that I'll take into the next artwork, but I'm really stoked with it. Let's check out some detailed shots. Super slick, very happy with it. Thanks very much for clicking on this video and coming to watch me, Dusty Rich, with another art video. There'll be plenty more to come, so make sure you click on the subscribe, click on the like, click on the share, and also click on that little bell icon so you know when the next video drops. Thanks very much again.
It was a really great
Yes,
episode.
it was, wasn't it? Yes.
It was really great.
So remember to come back next episode because we'll be doing some work in this art studio, and I'll talk about how to set up an art studio in your own house or abode, wherever you live. You live up a tree, we'll create an art studio up there. Hey, thanks very much for coming. Thanks very much for clicking. Be sure to stay safe out there with the old sniffles. And we'll see you in the next video.